Many thanks for joining. You're watching Open Horn of Africa. This is weekly program Future Africa, and I am Fantam Belete. Today, I'm joined by Priska Ogana, team leader and founder of Untold Stories of African Women documentary and journals. Priska, a very warm welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Can you tell our audience your background and the area of expertise, please?
Just like you said, I am Priska Ogana from Nigeria. Yeah, so I'm the team lead of the Untold Stories of African Women. So I'm happy to be here, and I studied chemistry education as an undergraduate. But then I dived into technology because of my passion in technology and all that I can do with technology. So professionally, I'm a professional photographer, cinematographer, and also I do web design, BSci, and all of that. So I also do chemical production as a chemist, chemical production, and all of that. So,
what is the work of the Untold Stories of African Women in technology, journals, and documentaries?
Okay, the Untold Stories of African Women in Technology is a documentary and journal publication that aim to educate, unite, and inspire the next generation of African women how we can use technology to solving challenges or issues facing African women, and how we can also encourage young African women to take up careers in technology, and also how to inspire them to take up careers in technology. Using the stories of African women breaking glass ceilings and doing wonders in the technology.
When and where did this journal and documentary start?
Okay, the Untold Stories of Africa women started last year. We had the first publication last year, March 2022, and then this year we can, because it's periodical. Yeah, it's an annual production, documentary and publication. So this year we're looking at in line with the UN International Women's Day theme, the gender equality, technology and innovation. Okay, so we're looking at how we can encourage, inspire, and bring more women, bring more African women in technology. So that's what we're looking at. That's why we now choose the theme for this year's production as the Untold Stories of African Women in Technology.
Who started it and how many members does it have?
Okay, the Untold Stories of African Women started last year, like I said earlier. Started last year with me as the team lead and the founder. And then we have team members. We have Barrister Mewada Ahmed, who is still our legal advisor, and also our chief editor. We have Catherine Wambo from Cameroon. We have Emmanuel Adedapo from Nigeria. Salahuddin Bala from Nigeria as well. And we have Amina Osman from Nigeria, and Yusuf Ladan from Nigeria. We started up as 17 members, but currently we have expanded to almost having a representative from each African country. Yeah, and also in diaspora.
What are the mission and vision of the Untold Stories of Africa Women Journal and the documentary?
The mission and vision, the mission of the Untold Stories of Africa is to highlight the stories of the achievements, experiences, and challenges of African women in technology, and use these stories use this highlight to inspire the next generation of African women to pick up careers in technology, and how also we can solve peculiar and unique problems facing African women using technology. And we believe that by amplifying the voice of women in technology, we can achieve gender equality. Yeah. So also our mission is to educate, inspire, and unite young African women to using technology, and also inspire them to pick up careers in technology. Stories of African women.
How can the untold stories of African women help the contemporary issues affecting African women?
Okay, the untold stories of African women has a lot of benefits in continents. One, it will help it will help the continent to have a generation of African women who are technologically inclined, solving problems in the continent using as Africans, and also problems affecting women and youth using technology, right? Which will reduce social unrest, which also reduce prostitution, which also reduce unemployment, which will also engage youth meaningfully, and also make more young women and yeah, youths to also get inspired and also busy, innovative and creativity, to bring the creativity in them, and it also bring that innovative spirit as an African. Yeah, so it has a lot of benefits to the African continent.
Is the aim of your work is to solve issues related to technology, or does it include other factors?
Yeah, it's actually include other factors. Okay, so if you look at the trend of invasion of AI in the world today, technology, especially the artificial intelligence, that's AI. You agree with me that the trend is moving up as fast as possible. So and it covers all aspects of human life. It's not just in technology, but how we can use this technology to touch other sectors in agriculture, in medical, in transportation, in school, in education, and all of that. So how we can leverage on technology to solve issues in other sectors of human endeavors.
Do you think that you were successful in the past works, and how can you reach the vast audience?
Okay, in the first publication of the First Series of Africa, we were successful because it was the first, and then we had a lot of challenges. Yeah, we had a lot of challenges, but then at the end of the day, our aim we achieved. We were able to reach out to young girls with this publication. We were able to reach out to them. Okay, so and give them this journal. It becomes like a handbook to them. The journal has been translated so far into three African languages: the Swahili, the Hausa, the English, and the Arabic. Right. So, and this is to integrate the mission and vision of this journal, to reach out to the people in the rural community who have no access to technology as well, or cannot have the soft copy. So it also encourage mothers to bring their children, bring their daughters inspired, and how they can also achieve greatness even as an African woman, because there are a lot of cultural norms and surrounding African women. So how we can thrive amidst all of this. So we were able to achieve at least more than 500 girls have been inspired and are now doing well in their respective career because of the first publication of the stories of African women here in Nigeria.
Since your mission is to unite, educate, and inspire the young African generation, what should other fellow Africans do to support you?
In this current publication is ongoing, the untold stories of African women in technology. We need support. We need support from Africans to get all capable and the phenomenal women who have been doing so well in the technological sphere. We need their stories. We need to interview them. We need to get their unique experience, achievements, and challenges. Okay, and then how we can project it to inspire the next. It might be what just the next girl needs to get inspired and become who she wants to become. So we need people. We need Africans to key into this, and also we need support from Africans in a way that have to because the untold stories of African women is going to be in a documentary and form, and also in a journal publication. It's going to be in hard copy and soft copy, because we want to reach out to even the people in the rural area are majorly our target. So they can watch this, and also they can read. We also tend to translate it to 6 most spoken languages in Africa, and then this is how far we want to reach to people in the rural area. So all we need from Africa is we need people who are translators in their local languages to also help us to translate these journals and documentary. We also need support from Africans in such a way that we need to get more publications, okay, to reach to thousands, millions of young African girls. Our aim is to make it be like a handbook to every young girl in Africa, in the university and in the senior secondary schools. So we want to make it that every young girl in Africa in secondary school and in university should have a copy of the Untold Stories of African Women in Technology journal and documentary, even in their local languages. So it's a lot of work. So we need support in this area.
What is Pan-Africanism for you, and how do you relate it with your job?
Okay, Pan-Africanism is Africa for Africa by Africa. To me, that is my perception about Pan-Africanism. Africa for Africans and by Africans, right? So, as a young Pan-Africanist, telling the stories of Africa, okay, as an African in Africa is Pan-Africanism. Yeah, I'm telling our stories as Africans by us, okay, in Africa is Pan-Africanism to me. So it's just the way around it. And yeah, it's that how we tell our stories, how we like Africa take on. We don't allow anybody of people to tell us who we are. It's right how we tell us that, so this is us, this is who we are, and all of that. So Pan-Africanism is Africa by Africa, Africa for Africa by Africans, right? So and this Untold Stories of Africa, especially Untold Stories of African Women in Technology, is a story of Africans in Africa by Africans. Get so this is really Pan Africanism to me.
What do you think is the role of women in unifying Africa and in keeping the interests of African countries?
Over the years, we see that women in Africa, or African women rather, has has, has become global. Most of them are putting Africa in the global map. Look at the first Africans to become the WTO chairperson, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. She's an African woman. She's an African woman, and she's the first African to climb such seats, right? We see Chimamanda Adichie Ngozi, right? She's a prolific writer and an award-winning writer, and she has put Africa in the global map. You get and there are so many African women doing so much for Africa. Look at the role of our ancestral mothers played in the emancipation of Africa from its colonial masters. Look at the first female president of in Africa, the role she played in Liberia, um, um, Madam Helen Johnson Sally, the first female president in Africa. And if you look at her record and how she started off, and where her contributions in Liberia, you understand that African women, are really claiming the hope of Africa and have contributed immensely to the emancipation of Africa, especially from its colonial master, and they have contributed also immensely to where Africa is today, especially in the development, in the economic sector, in the educational sector, and all of that. So African women are really doing wonders, and I'm sure that with much of encouragement, inspiration, such as the Untold Stories of Africa and the stories of African women and African women in technology, a lot of women will be inspired to do more, to contribute more to the continent, because this is our home. Okay, so we have to make it better. We have to make it better in any way we can, right? So I'm believing that we're gonna have more women, more phenomenal women in Africa, from Africa, that will make Africa great. Together, we can we can have the Africa we all dream of. The one Africa, one currency, one language, one yeah, the dream of our founding fathers. Yes. Thank you.
How can the current generation build solidarity among African countries?
Okay. The current generation can please solidarity to the current African to Africa. What I see this current African generation, pardon me, I feel the lack um, mentors. I mean, who to look up to in Africa. In the past, we've had a very strong mentors, the likes of Nelson Mandela. We have Gaddafi. We have a lot of them in Africa, right? Yeah, but these days we don't see that zeal. Look at how I can hardly see the spirit of uh, Kuruma, the likes of in any of the any of the current African leaders, and I feel this is what is lacking in our generation. So with the way we are, the young people are bringing solutions and creativity in them, I think we can rewrite our story. We can start again. We can make we can like the untold stories of African women in technology, and just untold stories of African women generally. We can resuscitate, rather revive the hope of young Africans through the stories of our founding fathers, how they fought, how their contribution in the pre, post, and even the colonial era or in Africa. And that will also ginger the young generation about the progress, and how to also to contribute immensely to the development of Africa. How we can solve our problem using our resources, and how we can solve our problem by ourselves using our resources in our land. I believe African has all it takes to beat the world, to be the first. We have the resources, we have the human capacity, we have all it takes to beat. So what we lack is the inspiration, and that is why we are on this mission to inspire this generation to become more phenomenal than our ancestors.
As you are working on issues of African women, how do you evaluate the narration of Western media on Africans?
Okay. Yeah. Like I've been on the course during the research, the processes, and all that involved during the untold stories of African women, the first publication. I have a lot. I discovered a lot. There are so much lies about Africa, and then when we dig deep, we discover that we are what more than what is being projected, right? Yeah. So the Western media is not really projecting what's the true Africanness. Okay, most times I wonder how they get their findings and facts, because it's really contradicting. It's contradicting. Yeah. So even when I interact with most of these women, I was able to be in touch with the first women president of Malawi, Dr. Joyce Bande. Yeah, during my interview with her and other phenomenal women in Africa, I discovered that what is being on the media by the Western, what's being propagated by the Western media is totally different from the real story. So that is why I said Africa, it's time we tell our story about ourselves, right? So there's so much filtration in the Western media about Africa, and that is why we need to step up to tell our story about ourselves.
Do you think that Africa has independent media house that truly promotes Africa and its citizens, or Africa needs a giant media house that keeps the interests of its countries?
If you ask me this question, in the last 10 years, yeah, or there about 15 years ago, I would say my answer would have no. But in this dispensation, yeah, I feel that we have a lot of them. The OBN, which I'm currently on right now, is one of them. I've followed OBN for a couple of times. Yeah, so I applaud the OBN, promotes African activities, cultures, and all of that. So kudos to the OBN Ethiopia. You're doing a good work and a good job. And your 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 broadcast, your media is so African. I mean, its originality and authenticity, right? It gives also that we have there are media outlets we can really trust that are really propagating what should be propagated about Africa. It's really giving us what should be seen by Africans. So I applaud OBN, and if I'm to choose a media house or recommend, OBN would be my first choice because I've seen that their realness and the originality of Africa in the media. Then there are also a couple of them, yeah, two that are just few of them that are still not filtrated. But then I'm trusting that with this we still have hope and there's still more to come. Yeah.
What problems have to be solved to unite Africa?
Really, African problem is just like I said it previously. African has a lot of resources, right? African has the human capacity, the and all it takes. Yeah. So, but then the problem of Africa remains the African leaders. It remain African. Right? So, yeah. So, if we can have the right leaders, who are genuinely for African, who will not sell us to the West. I think African problem will be solved in no distant time. But then the problem of Africa still remains Africans in the way that it has to do more with the leaders of Africa, the leaders of Africa. So until we get it right in that aspect, we continue to have challenges in Africa. But to me, Africa is so blessed. Africa, I wouldn't have asked for any to come from any other continent. Africa is simply blessed. And then I'm still hopeful that one day we'll get there. I mean, we'll all be happy and we'll have the African we all yearn for. Yeah.
How do you describe Ethiopia and Nigeria in your own way and in the history of African independence?
Okay, Nigeria was colonized, is a colonized country, yeah. So unlike Ethiopia, which are not, right? Ethiopia happens to be the only African continent country that is not colonized. And one unique thing about Ethiopia is its Africanness in it. Ethiopia portray what Africa should be, the calendar, the um, the whole of Ethiopia, the activities and the people of Ethiopia portrays Africa really. So, but on the contrary, Nigeria is the most populous nation, black nation on earth. Yeah, with its population, and Nigeria has is also the giant of Africa, and Nigeria has a lot of natural and mineral resources. Yeah, I think in that aspect, Nigeria and Ethiopia really because Nigeria, you can't practically talk about Africa without Nigeria at the center. Yeah, so because of its capacity and its diversity and all of that. So Nigeria is truly to me, Nigeria is the center of Africa, and then Ethiopia is the pride of Africa. Personally, to me, so I would say that the both countries have really um, been both countries have contributed immensely to to African development and what Africa should be. And I'm so happy that I'm from Nigeria and we have a country like Ethiopia too, to be part of Africa. Yes, that makes the joy complete.
What do you suggest for Africans, diplomats, activists, rich and the leaders of Africa to unify Africa?
Okay. The first step to unifying Africa is Africa having one language, one passport, and one currency. So that's alone will go a long way in unifying Africa. If the African Union and other organizations of Africa come together and adopt just the language for Africa, and then have one passport, free trade among within the continent, and then free movement. But if you're an African, you are free to move to any country of your choice in Africa, and they can trade, free trade movements among Africa. That will go a long way to unifying Africa. And then imagine a continent where we have one currency. Oh my God, it's really gonna be heaven on earth. So I think the major factor in unifying Africa is the language, currency, one passport, and then one Africa.
Have you got any final message to convey for Africans and the people watching us?
Yes. I want Africans all over the world to have this at the back of their mind. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of Africa. We wouldn't have been, there wouldn't have been a better continent. I'm so proud and I'm so happy that I'm African. My color, my color and my continent's peace originality. It's all started from us. There is nothing in this world practically that is not that doesn't have Africanness in it. All over the world, everything we have in the world today, everything has Africanness in it. So be proud. If you're anywhere in the world, if whether in the continent or in the diaspora, be proud because everywhere you are, there's everything you're using, all that you have, all that you make use of has Africanness in it. So be proud of your continent and continually look for ways you can live while you are still existing. What I mean is this, most of us live and we don't exist. Living is even if you die today, you still have something that we remember. If you look at Nelson Mandela, he's dead long ago, but his legacy still lives. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. So we all need to find one thing and contribute to the continent so that even when we're no more, we still be remembered. We write our names on the sands of Africa. And Africa will be pleased. Our ancestors will be pleased that yes, we have a son or a daughter like you and I.
Priska Ogana, team leader and the founder of Untold Stories of African Women Journal and the documentary. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much for time. Pleasure.
Dear our viewers, this is all we have for today. Thank you for watching.